What if embracing your identity with pride is the missing step to finally discovering real self love?
Hey, this is Stef, and welcome to the Together Moving Forward podcast.
A podcast helping 2S LGBTQI plus people embrace self love and self respect so you can celebrate yourself with pride. In this episode, you'll discover why accepting your LGBTQ identity is the first step towards self love and confidence, how pride, joy, and community help sustain the LGBTQ plus movement for the long term. Simple, everyday actions that allow anyone to protect LGBTQ plus dignity and identity. Today's conversation is about discovering how embracing your identity with pride can help you build deeper self love, confidence, and connection within your community. Hello again, I'm Stef and I'm a human being. Welcome back to the Together Moving Forward podcast. Embrace your 2S LGBTQIA plus identity with pride through self love. No matter where you stand in the 2S LGBTQIA plus spectrum, we are all connected. And if you ever struggle to fully love and respect yourself, you're not alone, and this podcast is here to help you. As someone who has navigated my own journey of self acceptance as a queer, I know the power of hearing voices that reflect our experiences. In this podcast, you'll hear real stories and conversations that leave you with practical tools, fresh perspectives, and the confidence to embrace who you are with pride. To start, I need to say that I'm not a psychologist, a specialist, or someone with a college degree. I'm just a regular guy here to share with all of you and support each other. I will share my journey, and we will all share journeys together. We'll learn from each other how to move forward. In the last episode, I had a powerful conversation with Cheri DiNovo, a longtime activist who helped change LGBTQ plus rights in Canada. Her story reminded us that real change doesn't happen overnight, and it happens when people choose courage, love, and community. Today, I want to take a moment to reflect on three of the most important highlights from that conversation, because these ideas are not just inspiring, they are lessons we can apply in our everyday lives. So let's take a deeper look together. Highlight number one: embracing your LGBTQ plus identity builds the foundation for true self love and confidence. One of the most powerful things we talked about in the last episode in how important it is to truly accept who you are. For many of us in the LGBTQ plus community, learning to love ourselves doesn't happen automatically. Sometimes it takes years. Yeah. Sometimes it takes unlearning things we were told about ourselves growing up. But the moment we start embracing our identity instead of hiding it, something changes inside of us. We begin to realize that there is nothing wrong with us. Our identity is not something to apologize for, and it's something to celebrate. When we accept who we are, we start building real confidence, not the kind that comes from pretending to be someone else, but the kind that comes from authenticity. And that's where self love truly begins. When you love yourself, you stop trying to shrink yourself to make other people comfortable. Instead, you stand proudly in your truth. And that is incredibly powerful. Highlight number two: love and joy, not just anger, sustain long term activism and community change. Another important message from Cheri was something that really stayed with me. Yes, anger can be the spark that starts change. When people experience injustice, anger is often the first reaction. But anger alone cannot sustain a movement. What keeps people going for years, sometimes decades, is something deeper: love, hope, and joy. Sherry talked about how early LGBTQ activists were not just protesting, they were also celebrating, dancing, building community, and supporting one another. That joy gave them strength. And I think that lesson is incredibly important today. If we only focus on the struggles, the fight, and the negativity, we burn out. But when we also celebrate who we are, when we build community, when we create spaces of love and belonging, that's what keeps the movement alive. And in many ways, that's also an act of self respect. Choosing joy is a way of saying our lives deserve happiness, our community deserves celebration. Highlight number three, everyday people can protect LGBTQ plus rights through small actions. One thing that really stood out to me from this conversation is this idea that you don't need to be a politician, a famous activist, or a public figure to make a difference. Real change often happens through small everyday actions. Speaking up when someone says something harmful, educating people who might not understand our experiences, supporting someone in our community who feels alone, standing beside someone when they need an ally. Sherry reminded us that sometimes simply being visible, simply existing authentically, can already change the world around you. And this is also where healthy boundaries come in. Protecting a community sometimes means saying clearly, this is not okay. This is where I draw the line. Boundaries are not about pushing people away, they are about protecting dignity, respect, and safety. And every small action like that helps build a stronger community. So, if we bring these three lessons together, we get something really powerful. First, embrace who you are because self love begins with accepting your identity. Second, remember that love and joy are what keep our community strong over time. And third, never underestimate the power of small actions. Every choice, every conversation, every act of support helps move our community forward. Real change has always started with an ordinary people choosing courage, and that includes you. I'm always looking for inspiring guests for the podcast, and I'd love to have you or someone you know share your journey with pride. The world needs your story. It has the power to change lives, and your voice matters. Please reach out and send me an email today. Also, I'm now booking keynote speaking engagements. My talk is From Survival to Self Love, How I Finally Learned to Embrace My LGBTQ Identity with Pride, and how you can too. Details at togethermovingforwardpodcast.com under speaking. It is already time to say au revoir just for now. Join me every Monday and Thursday for brand new episodes of the Together Moving Forward podcast and learn how to embrace your 2S LGBTQI plus identity with pride through self love. Wherever you're from in the world, we are all connected. Remember, solidarity beats hate. The more we unite, the stronger we become. Because at the end of the day, we are all equally human and we all deserve the same rights. Before we close with our weekly positive thoughts, I want to tell you what this one personally means to me with today's episode. I have a community that supports and uplifts me. When I think about that statement after reflecting on this episode, it reminds me that none of us are meant to go through this journey alone. Self love becomes easier when we realize that there are people who understand us. Standing up for our rights becomes easier when we know we're not the only ones doing it. And even those small everyday actions we talked about become more powerful when they are part of our community. Because at the end of the day, the LGBTQ plus movement has always been about people coming together, supporting each other, protecting each other, and reminding each other that we deserve to live with pride. You're not alone. You're part of a community that supports you, uplifts you, and moves forward together. And that is something truly powerful. Now is the time to put your hand on your heart and let's repeat it again. You and me together this week, positive thoughts. I have a community that supports and uplifts me. Yes, I have a community that supports and uplifts me. From shame, guilt, silence, and rejection to pride, freedom, healing, and love. Together moving forward. Thank you so much for being here with me today, for taking this moment to reflect with me. I truly appreciate it. See you real soon. Ciao. Do you know anyone in the LGBTQ plus community who feels disconnected from their true self, wishing they could embrace their identity with confidence and pride? Share this episode now and help them step into self-love and self-respect so they can truly celebrate who they are with pride, feel empowered, and make a real difference in our community.